Imagine if someone told you that Western civilization, with all its technological progress, democracy, and culture, is doomed. Not because of wars, politics, or economics, but because history follows an inescapable organic cycle. A cycle of birth, growth, decline, and inevitable death. This wasn't the claim of a historian, but of a philosopher, Oswald Spengler. A man who saw history not as a straight line of progress, but as a pattern, a fate that civilizations cannot escape. His ideas shook the intellectual world, dividing scholars and political thinkers alike. Was he a prophet of doom, or simply a misunderstood genius? Today we dive deep into Spengler's controversial philosophy and explore why his work still sparks debate more than a century later. Oswald Spengler was born in 1880 in Germany, a country that, at the time, was rising as a major global power. He wasn't a traditional academic. He studied mathematics, science, philosophy, and history, but never held a major university position. Then came 1918. Germany lost World War I, and with it, an entire way of life seemed to collapse. Amidst this chaos, Spengler published his magnum opus, The Decline of the West. The book immediately caused a sensation. Some called it a work of genius, others dismissed it as pseudo-history. But one thing was clear, it was unlike anything else written before. What made Spengler's philosophy so controversial? The core idea was simple, yet radical. Civilizations, just like living organisms, go through predictable life cycles. They are born, grow, reach their peak, decay, and eventually die. He divided history into great cultures, what he called high cultures, each with its own unique soul or inner essence. According to Spengler, these cultures don't evolve from each other. Instead, they emerge independently, grow organically, and ultimately perish. Spengler identified 8 great cultures in history: Egyptian culture, Mesopotamian culture, Greco-Roman culture, Indian culture, Chinese culture, Mesoamerican culture, Islamic Arabic culture, Western culture. Each of these, he argued, had a youthful phase, a creative peak, a period of maturity, and then a slow but inevitable decline into decay. Spengler's emphasis was on the inner spirit of a civilization. He believed that each culture had a defining soul. The Apollonian soul, Greco-Roman, was focused on harmony, proportion, and the immediate world. The Magian soul, Islamic, Persian, Judaic, centered around a mystical, dualistic world of light and dark. The Faustian soul, Western culture, was obsessed with the infinite, expansion, and boundless ambition. According to Spengler, the Faustian culture, our Western civilization, is unique in its drive for exploration, scientific advancement, and conquest. But this drive also carries the seeds of its own downfall. The decline of the West. Now, here's where Spengler became truly controversial. He claimed that Western civilization, the culture of Europe and North America, was already in its final stage. He called this phase civilization as opposed to culture. When a society is young, it's full of creativity, deep spirituality, and artistic energy. Think of the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, or the Industrial Revolution. But as a culture ages, it turns from a living, dynamic organism into a rigid, mechanical society. Art loses its originality, politics becomes corrupt, traditions are abandoned, and materialism takes over. According to Spengler, this is the fate of the modern West. He compared Western civilization to ancient Rome, which also transitioned from a creative republic to a bureaucratic empire before ultimately collapsing. Spengler also argued that rationalism, secularism, and democracy are symptoms of decay, not signs of progress. He believed that mass democracy leads to an era of mediocrity, where great leaders are replaced by bureaucrats and politicians who lack vision. This leads to what he called the Age of Caesarism, a time when powerful figures rise, offering order in an era of chaos. Spengler's vision of the future. What did Spengler predict would happen? He believed that democracy, liberalism, and individual freedoms, hallmarks of Western civilization, were temporary illusions. As decline continues, a new phase begins, the rise of authoritarian rule. Spengler believed that in a civilization's final stage, democracy collapses, and strong leaders emerge. He called them Caesars, comparing them to Julius Caesar, who ended the Roman Republic and established the Roman Empire. A return to war and imperialism. As cultures decay, they turn outward, seeking expansion, conquest, and power. According to Spengler, we should expect more wars, more conflicts, and a return to traditional power struggles. The death of Western culture. Spengler argued that there is no saving a dying civilization. Western culture would eventually be replaced by something else, perhaps a new, currently unknown culture rising from Asia, Africa, or somewhere unexpected. Spengler was not optimistic about resisting this fate. He believed that civilizations do not collapse overnight, but transform into rigid structures where creativity vanishes. Art, philosophy, and science no longer innovate, they simply recycle old ideas. He also suggested that technology and globalization accelerate this process. As cultures mix, their original spirit is diluted, leading to a uniform but lifeless global civilization. Criticism and controversy. Spengler's philosophy was met with intense criticism. Some saw it as overly deterministic, arguing that civilizations don't necessarily follow rigid cycles. Others accused him of pessimism, saying his ideas ignored human agency and the possibility of renewal. Many modern scholars argue that civilizations don't die but adapt and evolve. For example, China has experienced multiple rises and falls, but still remains a dominant force today. Could the West, too, experience a rebirth? Why Spengler still matters. So why is Oswald Spengler still relevant today? His predictions about the decline of democracy, the rise of authoritarian leaders, and cultural stagnation seem eerily familiar in today's world. Many have drawn parallels between his ideas and modern political instability, economic crises, and the increasing divide between technology and human values. Whether you agree with him or not, Spengler forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. Is progress truly linear? Or do we follow the same patterns over and over again? Is Western civilization in decline, or is it simply transforming into something new? Can history really be predicted? Or do we have the power to change our fate? Oswald Spengler's ideas remain controversial, provocative, and deeply thought-provoking. He may have been wrong in some areas, but his warnings about cultural decay and the dangers of complacency still resonate. His work reminds us that history is not just about the past, it's about understanding where we are headed. So what do you think? Was Spengler a prophet of doom, or was he simply misunderstood? Are we truly witnessing the decline of the West, or is there still hope? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into philosophical controversy, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking.